Hello, thank you for being in a new video. This time I have unboxing of the Galaxy S24, the smallest model of the whole series. Let's get started. As I anticipated, this is the smallest model in the entire Galaxy S24 series. Its launch price in Mexico is 19,999 pesos. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars, but remember that the prices here are not the same as there. In Mexico, prices are almost always higher. Although fortunately in this case, they are giving you double the storage during the pre-sale. So what do you say you join me in opening this box to find out what's inside? And here we have directly the device in the purple color edition. It's honestly very pretty. It's a lighter purple than the Ultra model, so please don't go getting confused. The Ultra model is a little bit darker, and this one also, remember, it's very compact, feels great in the hand. We're going to take the decal off as well. And we're going to turn it on while we see what else comes in the box. So let's see, here we have just advertising Samsung Care Plus, which is the insurance that you can purchase for your cell phone in case of any accident or theft. But I would like that in addition to including a little advertising, we include some other accessory, since the box comes very simple, very small. But don't think that's all it comes with, because on the other side there is also some content. But don't get your hopes up too high, because it's not much. We find the key to extract the tray and also the documentation, better known as Papers of All Life. And finally, we are going to find the cable that is from USB-C to USB-C. Remember that they do not include charger. It is also not a very long cable to say, so it is something very basic what Samsung includes in its box. We would love it if they included headphones, case or something else. Since in this case it does feel like an extremely simple experience, even though the device is extremely expensive. So let me put this back in the box and get back to you. And that's it. We now have this device set up so we can get to know it little by little. So let me tell you about its specifications. Its screen is 6.2 inches. I brought up its little brother so we can compare some things. It's actually also a little bit taller than the last generation, and it maintains the same thickness of 7.6 millimeters, and it's 1 gram lighter than last generation, weighing 167 grams. However, it keeps Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front, so we have exactly the same glass. In this sense, there is no evolution from last generation. Definitely that I would have liked to see the new Gorilla Armor glass on this device as well. But that glass was reserved exclusively for the Ultra model. But an important new feature of the screen is that it has more brightness. This generation reaches 2600 nits, while before it reached 1750. And you definitely notice an important difference when you are under the sunlight, since this screen reaches a much higher readability. The front camera is the same 12 megapixel camera with f2.2 aperture. Absolutely no evolution from the last generation. The preview still doesn't look optimized on the front camera, and the photography of course looks good quality. And as I mentioned to you on the whole Galaxy S24 series, remember that now the pictures are viewed with HDR, so there may be some areas that feel brighter when viewing them. I think in this case it is appreciated perfectly, as the white of the photo looks more intense than the white of the device. You could turn this option off in the settings if you turn off Super HDR. Although I honestly think the best experience would be to keep this option on, to have a much more realistic display of all your photos. So I really like the result. And on the rear cameras, there is no evolution either. 50 megapixel main with f1.8 aperture, 12 megapixel ultra wide with f2.2 aperture, and telephoto of 10 megapixels with aperture f2.4. In fact, I took pictures with both models and they look pretty much the same. The only difference I notice is the HDR display that the newer model has enabled. But honestly, they look very similar. It's a maximum 30x. So I would have liked Samsung to really give us a little more evolution with respect to the cameras back here. But as long as Apple is comfortable selling the newest iPhone with only 2 cameras, believe me, Samsung is not going to decide to improve its photographic system. Hopefully soon Huawei will make a strong comeback, or some other brand will take more strength like Honor and Oppo, that they decide to compete head-to-head against Samsung. But until that happens, I think Samsung will be quite comfortable, and in this case it really offers us very little evolution over the last generation. Slightly larger screen with slightly smaller edges. The battery is now 4000 milliamps. Before it was 3900. Again, a very small evolution, and it is one of the few improvements really. The charger you have to buy separately, as you know. The base model is still 128 gigabytes, although in this case I have the 256 edition, and it still has 8 gigabytes of RAM on both models. And as you know, Samsung offers the RAM Plus feature to use the internal storage space as added RAM virtually. So also in this aspect, it remains the same as the last generation. It would have been very nice if the base model started at 256 gigabytes. Although at least during the pre-sale, they are giving you the 256 model. Same price as the 128. Holds 25 watt charging. It maintains 15 watts wireless charging. There's no evolution there either. So the main evolution, they have decided to put it through software, with the artificial intelligence functions that it has integrated, to translate calls, help you write text from the keyboard, to translate some things, improve notes and some other things. But the main one will be photo editing. That will even allow you to change the position of some objects and other things with artificial intelligence. And one improvement I was forgetting to tell you about is the adaptive color tone that will use the camera to analyze the white of the environment. Notice how when you turn this option off, the screen will look much bluer. So this helps the color rendition look much more natural. And I definitely love it, and it wasn't available in the last generation. Although currently we don't even know if through an update they are going to put that feature also on the last model. But I insist that there are few improvements that justify evolutions from the S23 to the S24. And lastly, another one of the changes will be that it now integrates the Exynos 2400 processor, since it previously had the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, and now they have opted for an Exynos, so let's see the results when it's finished. And here is the result. As you can see, in a single core the improvement is minimal, but in multi-core there is a significant improvement, so we are looking at a more powerful device, although in itself the power it already had last generation was considerably high. But if you are one of the most demanding in power, there is an important update. Although the improvements, as I have already said on several occasions, are minimal between one and the other. For the moment, this has been all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know that you can indicate it, and we'll see you next time.